If you're feeling lost, if life isn't going the way you hoped, this story is for you. A reminder that God's plan is always greater than your pain. Many years ago, in a peaceful village surrounded by gentle green hills, lived a farmer named Robert. He wasn't wealthy, nor did he dream of luxury. He was a simple man who believed in hard work, prayer, and patience. His little farm sat on the edge of the valley, where the morning sun always seemed to rise a bit earlier and shine a bit longer. Robert's greatest treasure was his horse, a strong brown stallion that helped him plow the fields, carry wood, and travel to the nearby town. It wasn't just an animal, it was his companion, his helper, his friend. But one morning, as Robert went to the stable, he found the gate wide open. The horse was gone. He searched every corner of the fields, asked his neighbors, followed the tracks until they disappeared into the forest, but there was no sign of his horse. That evening, the villagers gathered around him and said, "Robert, this is terrible. You've lost your only horse. How will you work now?" Robert looked at them calmly, smiled faintly, and said, "Maybe yes, maybe no. God knows best." The villagers shook their heads. They couldn't understand how a man could lose something so valuable and still be at peace. A week passed. One morning, as Robert was working near the field, he heard the sound of hooves. He looked up, and there was his horse running back toward him. But this time, it wasn't alone. Behind it ran 3 wild horses following closely. The villagers rushed to see. "Robert," they exclaimed, "you are the luckiest man in the village. You lost 1 horse and gained 4. Robert chuckled softly and replied, "Maybe yes, maybe no. God knows best." A few days later, Robert's only son, Daniel, tried to tame one of the new horses. The horse was wild and powerful. In one swift movement, it kicked and Daniel fell hard onto the ground, breaking his leg. The villagers came again. "Oh, Robert," they sighed, "you were wrong this time. This is truly bad luck." But Robert, tending to his son, simply said, "Maybe yes, maybe no. God knows best." Weeks passed. Daniel couldn't walk or help with the fields. The work was slow. The days were hard. Every night, Robert would light a small lamp and pray. He never asked God why. He only said, "Thank you for everything I understand and for everything I don't." Then one morning, soldiers arrived in the village. A war had broken out in the kingdom, and every able young man was ordered to join. Every house echoed with cries. Mothers wept. Fathers tried to stay strong. When the soldiers saw Daniel lying with a broken leg, they shook their heads and moved on. They said, "He's unfit for battle." The next day, all the young men marched away to war. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. News began to travel back. Most of the young men who went to war never returned. Robert's son was alive, safe at home. When the villagers heard this, they came to Robert once more. "Robert," they said, "you were right all along. What we thought was bad was truly a blessing." Robert looked at them kindly and said, "When you trust God's plan, you learn that even pain has purpose." He looked up at the sky, his eyes full of peace. He still didn't have much, but he had something far greater: faith. And from that day on, the villagers would say, "Maybe yes, maybe no. God knows best."